Hello everybody, we are here at the Rodeway Inn in Glendale, California. This is like right downtown, across from a huge shopping mall on a really busy street. And it's a little bitty hotel. I'm guessing this has been here a lot longer than the development that's set up around it. Anyway, we are going to take a tour of room number 106. And I love the classic Do Not Disturb sign that I threw on the outside. Now, just as a disclaimer, I have been in this room for a couple of hours, so I've unpacked a little bit, though I've tried to clean it up as much as I can for the tour. So, first off, starting here at the door, we have our deadbolt, people, and a clearly readable fire map. This is a very simple property, just an L-shape, exterior corridors, classic little motel. That's really about it up here. Now, as we look around the front door, there's a couple of issues right here at the front of the room. The wall here is a little bit dirty. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it's kind of all up and down here. I'm guessing this door is meant to be so like you could have adjoining rooms with the room next door. A little bit of debris down here right on the carpet. And some of this old Conduit, like I guess this looks like it might be coax cable. Maybe this is from the original television system, and at some point they put another one in, and this one is cracked, and you can see a couple of lines in there. And this is sort of peeling off the wall down here. So, not the most presentable front entrance, but thankfully things do get a bit better from here. On this side of the room, we have a set of drapes which are actually very clean and in surprisingly nice shape. And they block out pretty much 100% of the light, so that's certainly nice. This window was obviously replaced sometime fairly recently. Looks like it's a newer thermal window. And it does open. And slides very nicely. So clearly some money is going into the upkeep of this property. But there are some other maintenance issues, which I'll be showing you around the room. So, I mean, as far as decor goes, this is a pretty dated economy hotel room. Granted, we are in Glendale and paying well under $100 a night, so they can certainly get away with a lot with rates that low. Whether they can get away with quite this much, that's sort of up for debate. The furniture actually is in pretty nice condition, dated as it may be. This table and chairs is perfectly fine. Nightstands, headboard, and everything. I mean, it's very bland looking, but it works. It's functional. Got a desk over here. It would be nice if they had some kind of power strip or a lamp with outlets on it. And interestingly enough, this lamp is actually like built into the desk. It's screwed in on the bottom. But thankfully, there is one free power outlet underneath, so there is a space to plug in a laptop. So yeah, it's not a bad little area to work. Then they have a dresser set up over here, which is nice and clean. The drawers all pull out very nicely. Again, it's older furniture. In a place like this, it does sort of work. One thing I left out here that is kind of interesting, like this place does have a little bit of charm to it. A lot of it, unfortunately, has been lost over the years, but evidently this place used to be called the RegaLodge Motel. That name is still out on front, and on the receipts they give you a check-in. This is pretty cool. They still have what I would assume was the original logo of the hotel. So it's kind of nice that they kept that. But yeah, evidently at some point the owners of this property decided to franchise with Choice Hotels. And it must have been a while ago because I went all the way back, in Google Street View to 2007, and the place still had a Rodeway Inn sign outside. So it's not a recent change. So very cool that they still keep that logo on the receipts. Nice little bit of history. You get to see some more history in the bathroom, but we'll get to that. First off, the bed. I mean, we got our flowery, old-fashioned bedspread. Nobody likes to see these things anymore. Even in economy hotels, they're pretty much on the way out. Thankfully, this one is actually in very nice condition. The main criticism people have with these things is that they don't always get cleaned as they should. Like, it's pretty unlikely that somebody actually takes this thing off and sticks it in the washer after every guest. But, minus a couple stains that obviously are quite old and permanent, I can't find any evidence whatsoever that this thing was not washed before I came in the room. It even smells fresh, and it's nice and soft too. So as far as old-fashioned bedspreads go, this is about as good as you're going to get. There's also another blanket beneath it, which, just like the bedspread, is perfectly clean. No evidence that it hasn't been cleaned adequately. Smells fresh again. And then you have your sheets. These are nice and soft. There's no real stains to speak of. Perfectly clean. The mattress isn't even too bad either. Pillows are a tad bit lumpy and not too supportive. But overall, for an economy bed, I mean, this is certainly passable. It would be a much better bed if they do away with the old bedspread and get some nicer linens. But as far as old linens go, it's about the best you're going to do. So yeah, given the low price and the expensive area, I can live with the bed, but there's a little bit of room for improvement there. One thing I did notice over here is that with these ancient-looking wall lamps, the conduit's kind of falling off the wall. I mean, obviously that's not any good. Another one of these things that probably would make sense, like I can't imagine these are terribly expensive to replace. It could certainly make the room a lot better if they did. But I can live with it at this price point. The TV is kind of set up on this goofy little shelf in the corner. It is a nice, relatively large flat screen TV. Looks a little sloppy with the bad cable management underneath, but it can be lived with. I like how the cords just hang out here around the corner. On the plus side, with that cord hanging out, you gain a mini fridge with a gigantic energy guide sticker on it. The funny thing is, you could tell like somebody tried peeling it off on this side and evidently just gave up. Thankfully, it's clean on the inside. Could use to be defrosted, but I've certainly seen worse. So yeah, not a bad little mini fridge. Much more closet space than you would expect to see at a property like this one. Kind of a goofy little setup how it goes back in there. And with this hanger rack, whatever you want to call it, the place is showing its age a bit. But it's nice storage space. Certainly more than you get at a property like this typically. All these cabinets down here have been painted shut, which is interesting because I don't know how they'd ever access the area underneath the sink if there was a leak or something. But, I mean, from my perspective, staying there as a guest, there's still plenty of storage space on the top. The sink works quite nicely. No real complaints there. And this light fixture up on top is just classic. Along with this old sign over here. Always love signs like that in all caps, don't you dare steal anything. Darn, and I really wanted to take this little cube ice bucket with me too. Go right with my decor back at home. But anyway. Also, I'm not sure what this light switch does. Moving on. The bathroom is where you see maybe some of the original charm, if you want to call it that, of this hotel. On the upside, they've replaced the shower curtain rod. It's mounted nice and high up. It's a curved one, so it gives you more space when you're in the shower. Shower curtain looks like it's brand new, so it's nice and clean. And this tile work on the back of the tub is actually pretty cool with like the flowery design. That's clearly original to the building. Unfortunately, they had to patch it at some point, so you've got one that looks different than all the others. But that actually is kind of cool. Shower head's a little low, but I can live with it. Tub is interesting, let's put it that way. So there's this top layer of finish. I don't know if this was put on after the fact or something, but there's like a couple of layers of it in here that are peeling off at different points. Some of them are peeled down so far, I'm wondering if the original color of this tub was actually green, because you can see it a little bit in there. But yeah, the tub could definitely use to be refinished or replaced. Go ahead and give you a demo of the shower. Nice pressure, nice and hot, no real complaints there. Like I said, the tub leaves a bit to be desired. It looks like at some point this was a functioning jacuzzi tub. Yeah, it was a big trend like back in the 60s through the 80s. I don't see any operating controls for this unless I'm just being blind, so my guess would be this hasn't functioned in years. But yeah, the tub could use some work. Shower is okay overall. This is what I found more interesting than anything. First off, it seems a little questionable to me to have a light switch panel like this so close to running water. I'm going to assume this thing is waterproof. I certainly hope it is, but yeah, it could give you a nice little zap in the morning, I guess. Anyway, so none of these switches actually do what they're labeled for. Well, I take that back. The one that says heat does actually heat, and believe it or not, it does still work. The one that says vent does the light, and the one that says night light does the fan. But yeah, never quite seen a switch panel like that before. Again, I think this is something that's original to the building. Pretty unique, kind of cool. Unfortunately, this towel rack might be original too, and it's kind of falling apart. And the quality of these towels is very, very questionable. In fact, let me show you the one that I just used when I took a shower before. Let's see, how can I do this? So this is a little hard to accomplish one-handed, but this towel is like so worn. I mean, look at the holes in this thing when I hold it up to the light. Like, this towel should have been disposed of a long, long time ago, and it's still in use. And this side, if you can see it, is just as bad, if not worse. So, they're cutting some corners on the linens here, which isn't good. So, overall impression. I mean, it's one of the cheapest hotels in the area. It is very clean. I mean, really the only cleanliness issues I found were those two I mentioned up near the front door. There's definitely some basic maintenance issues in here, but nothing that really prevents the room from being usable. And the linens are a little sketchy. I mean, it would certainly be nice if they could do some small changes, you know, just like some basic maintenance, changing out the bed linens and getting some new towels. It could really make the place a much more solid, you know, economy lodging experience. But it's livable as it is now if you can get a good deal on the place. This is sort of one of those hotels that I'm not going to go running down the street screaming my recommendations for, but if you can get a steal on the place like I did, it's certainly passable. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tour. Thanks so much as always for watching, and that is it.